Now, back to you.
Kevin, thank you. Well, today for your money, we're getting a flood of calls, emails, social media messages from people who want to know, will they receive checks from the Aid Relief Act? The stimulus checks are going out to Americans in the next 3 weeks or so, and there is money for citizens and forgivable loans for small businesses. Now, to answer some of the most asked questions is tax expert Travis Watkins with Travis Watkins Tax Resolution and Accounting, joining us via Skype. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
Well, if you haven't yet filed your taxes for 2018 or 2019, is that something that people should do right away?
They should do it immediately because that's what the stimulus checks are going to be based off of.
All right, so let's talk about the basics then. How much can people actually expect to receive?
Yes, for folks that make $75,000 or less, you'll be receiving $1,200. If you make $150,000 or less as a married couple, you'll be receiving $2,400, and you get $500 for each child under the age of 16 years old.
Well, what about if you make over those amounts, over $75,000? Will you get a reduced amount then?
You will. They cap out at $99,000 for individuals and $198,000 for married couples. So you'll get something, but it won't be that full $1,200 or $2,400 that you'd get at those lower AGIs, adjusted gross incomes.
Okay, let's talk about the folks who will not receive anything.
Yeah, if you have income that's above those levels, you're not going to receive anything there. Also, if someone claims you as a dependent, you're not going to receive anything in the way of a stimulus check, unfortunately. Also, if you don't have a Social Security number, you will not be eligible for a stimulus check.
And anyone who owes back child support as well, we just saw there also. Now let's talk about, this is the big one. Everyone's calling us about this one. Retirees who are earning Social Security, they want to know if they will receive a check, and if so, is there anything they need to do?
Yes, good news is they will be. Anyone that is on Social Security, either SSI or SSD, will also get, you're not otherwise ineligible from getting that. Now, you do have to pay attention to those adjusted gross incomes. So if seniors, for instance, are receiving like 401k money or other types of retirement, that may bump their adjusted gross income up to where they might not get it, but you're not otherwise foreclosed from getting it just because you're on Social Security. Now, you will need to file, unfortunately, a simple tax return is what we're hearing. That may change really minute by minute here, but right now you do have to file a tax return so that the U.S. Treasury knows where it's in the check.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so that's great news for our retirees. Now, what about if you have delinquent taxes or maybe you owe money to the IRS? Will you still receive a check?
As of right now, they're saying that that is not going to make you ineligible if you owe back taxes. So go ahead and get your tax returns filed, and you will still get a stimulus check if you meet those other requirements.
Okay, sounds good. Now let's talk about small businesses. How can they get a forgivable loan, and what all does that include?
Yeah, that one's coming down minute by minute also. We're getting all kinds of misinformation and other information that's kind of floating around here. But if you have employees, you will be eligible to get 2.5 times the amount of last year's average payroll on that. And if you spend that money on payroll, utilities, rent, and mortgage interest, and you have 8 weeks to do so from the time that it gets funded, then they will forgive all those amounts, which is great.
Yeah, so then how is that different than an economic injury disaster loan?
Yeah, those are already in place right now. Those are going through the Small Business Administration. And basically with those loans, those are not forgivable, but you can get up to 50% of your gross profits for last year. And you can spend it on more things than just payroll, rent, utilities, those types of things. But it's kind of a minefield. It's on this slow, nasty government website that you may need help on.
IRS.gov. Hey, you've made a lot of people happy today, so thank you so much for all of your information.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Sure, anytime. Our thanks to Travis Watkins, Tax Resolution and Accounting, and you can get more information at sbahelplaw.com. That's sbahelplaw.com. Still ahead, answering some of your medical questions about COVID-19. The impact on a patient's lungs is a top concern, so we'll have answers on the additional concern for those who